What is up, guys? Amp here, bringing you some Call of Duty gameplay. This is in the competition playlist. As many of you guys know, it's the competitive slash MLG playlist on Black Ops. First time a Call of Duty game's at it, which is really nice. But yeah, it's Search and Destroy on Villa. I end up going 14 and 1, as you can see in the description. And sorry guys, but I kept it on my screen for the one death through the rest of the round because one of my teammates ends up getting he ends up choking. So I let him, gave it a, I spared him some pain. How about that? So we're gonna talk a little bit about competitive Black Ops today. I have some other commentaries coming up that I'm gonna focus on other stuff besides the gameplay. This obviously won't be as much about the gameplay, but check out that ace, baby. All four. Let's go. So I end up doing pretty well in this game. Search and Destroy is kind of hit or miss for me. I'll end up going either like even or really rape or whatever. Sometimes, you know, you go into the negative, but that's usually when you're actually playing good teams and stuff doesn't go your way every time. Negative usually means that you did your part a few rounds, a couple rounds, maybe you planted a bomb or something, but just never got any kills and it just didn't get the stuff that you needed to get, but you still necessarily didn't lose the game because your teammates could clutch it and such and such. Anyways, let's get to the juicy part of this commentary. Competitive CoD versus competitive Halo. Now, in my opinion, I think that competitive Halo is a lot better than competitive CoD. My reasons behind that, first off, I want to preface this entire conversation with, well, one-sided conversation, with that I'm kind of frustrated right now because we just came back from NGL, Tensify and I did. We didn't do so hot. We ended up losing a lot of really close games. We took both series to 3 games, and we ended up losing by very slim margins, and it was just kind of frustrating that stuff got pushed the other direction and not our way. Anyways, we lost by like a cap for each CTF game and like 20 points for the Dom games and stuff like that, the ones we lost. So it was tough. I'm surprised the competition showed up, but you know, but you can't really predict that sort of thing. Anyway, that's why I'm a little frustrated and kind of in the moment talking about this sort of thing because it's sort of on my mind. Anyways, I think first off, competitive Call of Duty, to kind of cover the entire thing, is I think it takes a little bit less skill, especially the Call of Duty franchise altogether. Takes a little less skill than Halo, because in Halo you got to have that solid shot and you got to have it consistent. Because if you don't have it consistent, you're not gonna be able to get the kills because you need to be able to fire at least 5 shots into a guy to take him out, at least in reach. So it's a lot tougher in that aspect, and so in the end ends up taking a little bit more skill from the player to actually pull that sort of thing off, be accurate for that extended period of time versus a couple bullets into the chest with a FAMAS or Galil or whatever you end up using. So that is a big part of it, because that's really the only thing that the player has with the one-on-one is the gun skill. And when it comes down to it, yeah, you can be on point with your Call of Duty, FAMAS, or whatever else you use, but in the same aspect, when you go into Halo, you got to be on point for longer, and you have to be able to do that consistently rather than, oh, peek out and I got a couple of shots and oh, I got a lucky headshot, like in COD. So that's my opinion on that. Obviously, a lot of people have differing opinions on that, and I've heard this argument plenty of times over live. So we'll get moving on. In COD, I feel that like you can get away with a lot more. And let me preface this with saying that this is not just about Black Ops. This is about Modern Warfare 2, COD 4, all the competitive COD games that I've played. I didn't play World at War at all, so this is just for those 3 games. So obviously, you can get away with a lot more in the aspect that, especially in the most recent games like Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops, you kind of can get away from shots a little easier. I'd say Black Ops mainly because this is mostly about Black Ops mainly because Black Ops has LAN, whereas Modern Warfare 2 and COD 4 did not. So when you're playing on LAN, you can kind of tank some shots, like seriously tank shots, eat shots like no other. Like we were playing these kids today, and it was ridiculous. The one guy would just eat all of your shots, and then you'd be out of a clip, and it was tough, dude. So I feel like you can get away with a lot more. You can kind of pull off some crazy shit like jumping around corners and stuff like that. But I mean, in all honesty, I do that sort of thing too. But at the same time, you really shouldn't be able to get away with that sort of thing. So with that, move on to it's not as balanced in my opinion. Mainly because in Halo, you start out with everybody starts off with the same weapon: BR, Halo 2, Halo 3, DMR, and Halo Reach. When you start off with that same weapon, it's completely balanced. You're starting opposite sides of the map. Obviously, not every map is symmetrical, so it's a little different. But you're going to have the same weapon, same sort of loadout, especially in Reach with the equipment or the armor abilities. And then you have neutral power weapons and power-ups, which makes it pretty much completely fair. Depending, little tiny things in the game change up how balanced it is in any given multiplayer match. But at the core of it, it's same weapon start, same loadout start, besides, being able to pick the needle rifle. Keep in mind, this is all MLG I'm talking about, just MLG. So you can pick either the BR or DMR or the needle rifle now in the most recent MLG settings. But neutral power weapons, same starting loadout, makes it as balanced as possible. I mean, obviously connection comes into play there, but when you're playing on LAN, you're going to DMR at the same rate, you're going to DMR the same shots, same shots are going to hit, same shots are going to miss, that sort of thing. It's just a lot more balanced in my opinion than CoD, especially with the create class feature where you can create your own class, which is a great feature. I love it. I like how you can be able to, you customize it to your play style and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't feel it's as balanced because you can have all these sorts of different things that counteract the other player, which is balancing it, but at the same time you can have these sort of like overpowered setups, as some people claim them to be. So I am not completely berating competitive Call of Duty because I still enjoy it much more than playing public matches. Because in public matches you end up getting all the things that you don't enjoy about the game. In Black Ops specifically, second chance, Ghost. I'm not a huge hater on Ghost because I just don't play TDM enough to have as big of an impact as it could. But Ghost is sort of a problem. Honestly, I think the Galil is a little overpowered. Like if the Moss didn't exist, the Galil would be the overpowered gun in this game. The recoil is just non-existent on that gun. It's super annoying. But things like that, just little things of bullshit that really shouldn't be there in a game. Exactly like Modern Warfare 2 with noob tubing and commando and all that other stuff. Get juked, kid. So I just think there's a lot less BS because, like in Modern Warfare 2, even MLG took out all the death streaks. So if you ended up going on a death streak in a competitive match, you could not get Painkiller, you could not get Final Stand, you could not get any of that other shit. You just got Copycat, which in the end is kind of a cheap thing as well. But you had to have a death streak, which was retarded on Infinity Ward's part, along with not having frickin' LAN. Like, come on now. It's like the one thing that a fucking FPS should have. So, one player can do a lot more in Call of Duty as well. Like a single player, if they're in a certain position or have a certain gun or have a certain nade spot down or something like that, they can do so much more to control a map in Call of Duty than you can in Halo. Obviously, sniper is a big power weapon, and if you sit in one spot, you can cover half the map. But in the same respect, in Call of Duty, any sort of long-range, mid-range weapon, like any sort of assault rifle, can cover the entire side of the map. And say you have tac mask on, if they start stunning you, you can still get away. You can start juking them around. Like it's just ridiculous how much one player can be doing. Which I don't want to say this is necessarily all bad things, but I think that it takes away from the gameplay in the end if one player is just destroying. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to take it away from the player from being really beast, but I just think it's sort of unbalanced in that aspect where you can see that happening a lot. So that's my whole discussion. Obviously, MLG Anaheim is next weekend. Make sure you guys check it out. And I will have an update video at least on Wednesday talking about the open lobby on Friday.